Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business Live. I'm looking forward to talking with Steve Wiltshire. Well, it's great to, Steve, it's great to connect with you. You are the founder and CEO of Body Temple Health and Wellness. And, today we're going to talk about health and wellness, and something that's really big for you. And I think for everybody to learn from today is a healthy gut. I think a lot of times we're not talking about what that is, how to get it, what that means. So let's kind of go to, step zero. What is gut health and why is it so important?
Yeah, well, first of all, I really want to take a moment to acknowledge your podcast, Think Business Live. Brother, you've got quite the audience and 1,500 episodes. How many podcasters get to that?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward. There's like 6 podcasts I'm looking forward to listening to between Christmas and New Year's. And
well, thank you.
You're making an impact with thousands, if not millions of people. And thank you for your book. I've scanned through it. I can't wait to plug into that.
Oh, well, thanks,
You're just making a huge impact. And I want everybody to know you're in the right place.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you. But today is all about you educating us, as a business coach. What I love about this podcast is I work with successful people who are stuck and I get them unstuck. So I get to have guests like you on to help people get unstuck and raise their awareness on things like gut health, which I don't think people are thinking of. And I think coming into, we're taping this live at the end of 2022. This will be on the podcast. It's on all social right now, but it'll be on the podcast platform in beginning of 2023. But I don't think people are thinking about gut health, right? So what is it and why is it so important?
Yeah, well, let's. I want to first say that what's downloading for me right now, and I'm going to stay into the symbolism. I love symbolism. What's the message within the message?
Yeah.
Because when the energy is here, what happens is we're tapped in and tuned in to guidance.
Yeah.
And we can live in a 5-dimensional world, or we can live in a multi-dimensional world. And the way that you said that to me helped me see that I never, ever saw myself in health and wellness. People would say, you need to be a trainer. You'd rock. You need to teach these processes to people. And I'm like, I have no interest in that. Like, that's just not in my blood. I'm just not interested in that. I'm an entrepreneur coach. I've done 2,300 seminars. I've flown all over North America. I love working with entrepreneurs and helping them. My motto is, if I can work with one client that can impact the lives of thousands or millions, that's my holy work, right? And so when you said that, I was thinking, when we have a circumstance that presents itself in our life and we give power to that, we lose our personal power. We're only operating from 2 premises. We're either operating from personal power or circumstantial power. They don't work simultaneously. And when that started to happen to me and I started to get extremely sick, I remember finally awaking up to that idea after 2 weeks. Oh, what do? I get through challenges and I help other people get through challenges. Maybe this is a path that I need to consider. And, the thought that came up to me when you asked me that question was the pond that's right in front of my home. I have this absolutely beautiful pond. I could not get that son of a bitch balanced with that fungus.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an interesting process for me. And I thought, wow, I love being in the receptive mode instead of like complaining. I'm like, what's this mean? But it was so symbolic to me getting my microbiome in my gut, the balance between bad bacteria and good bacteria. And finally, this summer, I got that pond just looking absolutely, it looks like a beautiful clear pond. So the issue with the gut is the engine of the body. It is the mind of the body. And what happens when the gut isn't happy, everything, they just say that most disease starts below the waist. And when you are talking about the gut is just a very tricky issue, especially as we get older. We go back in 10 years, 15 years ago, man, we didn't see young people that were dealing with gut issues. But when you start to become a trailblazer and start to realize there's always motives. There's always motives. You know, what's going on with the dairy motive? What's going on with the meat motive? Or going into animal fat? And what do we know about pharmaceutical? You know, what's the motive? Is the motive really to heal people? Yes, in functional medicine it is, but it certainly isn't in pharmaceutical, drugs, doctors, medicine, man. It gets pretty tricky. And in all of that, what I can tell you is that this whole path just absolutely changed my life. But I went through 18 months of not having clarity. And if you were to know me very, very well, you would realize and know that my number one value in life is clarity. I want to rock life. People used to call me a workaholic, and this coach said, no, you're not a workaholic, Steve. You're a lifeaholic. You like to thrive. You want to just live life to the fullest. And when I could not gain clarity of my mind, my fog that was in my mind, man, my brain better said it was all because my gut was compromised.
So how did you, so you're sick, you realize it's your gut. How did you heal your gut?
Yeah, well, before I contracted autoimmune, I thought everything that I was doing was ideal. And those of you that are watching me right now, I mean, you probably can't tell, but man, my face is so red. And usually don't have a hat on, but I had a treatment, what's called a skin cancer prevention treatment yesterday, because I got a little bit of skin cancer, and my dermatologist said I'm bleeding somewhere. That she's like, you need to sell your boat. You've been in the sun way too long. Well, going back to my younger years, I didn't realize back then the repercussions of being in the sun all the time without sunscreen. And so I had this prevention work. And what I know is I want skin cancer on my face, especially being a speaker in front of audiences all the time. But with that said, it's symbolic to, we don't know what we don't know. We know what we know. We know we don't know, but we don't know what we don't know. And at 27 years old, for those of you that may not love your body like I didn't, I remember being at a convention with 4,700 keynote or 4,700 seminar participants. And this keynote speaker, Patricia Fripp from London, just rocked it. And at the very end, she got quiet for about like 3 minutes, man. She looked at the audience. She said, I want everybody to get quiet. And she said, I have one last inquiry for you before we end the event. And I want you to write down your answer, and you have 3 minutes to write before we wrap it up. And she said, what are you sick and tired of being sick and tired of? And I wrote, I hate my body. And I did. Like, there's no way that I would ever take my shirt off, man, by a pool, be caught dead in the light with a lover. I hated my body, and I came home and made a decision to plug into health and wellness. Back then, there wasn't the same kind of education. So, here I'm, plugged into a neighborhood gym. They're all, steroids and the big guys. I didn't know that back then. I just was like naive to all of it. And I just started just like hiring a trainer, eating all this food that I had. They just helped me gain weight. It was like pizza, right? Like everything that I learned from experts about these radical meal plans can't sustain our life as we get older. Like keto has good and a lot of bad, man. And so I had no signs leading up to it. I just remember being with my son at a vegan restaurant. And this is after I won Mr. Oregon bodybuilding contest, about 2 years after that. And all of a sudden my stomach just bloated, and I'm ready to go into urgent care. My 12-year-old's like, dude, what happened to your abs? And I waited a day, got in to see my doctor. I get my test results back and everything looks great. And I'm like, what the hell? Are you serious? How can everything look so great? Well, the good news is Quinn's mom, who is my ex and my good friend and the co-founder of Body Temple Health and Wellness and Lifeline Coaching and Education, she had been on a 2-year process to heal herself from third stage cancer. No chemo, no radiation, no surgery. She had learned everything from the #1 healing institute in the US, Hippocrates Health Institute in Southern Florida. So the thing is, I wasn't really plugged in completely to what she was doing because I didn't want her to die. But she has all sorts of cancer in her mom's family. When Lynn was 12, her sister died at 19 of cancer. Now, I want to stay there a minute because you got these genes and these different history of issues that really show up in your health, right? Genetics. And her whole family on that side has had cancer, man. Her mom lost 8 children. She was a different breed, the youngest, always pretty darn healthy, right? And so in all of that, she just started doing all these things I had never heard of. She was sprouting produce. Like, she doesn't bake anything. Everything that she does is just completely non-toxic and completely non-traditional. She can make a chocolate mousse with no sugar in it, and people just can't believe the products that are in there. Well, anyway, long story short. So do I have any short stories? Never. I just started following this regimen. She led me to healers, naturopaths, functional medicine that were disguised as healers. And I had a serious case of candida, and it was destroying my gut. And if you've ever heard of colonics, some of you that are pretty sick, you maybe don't even know what colonics is. Research it. But the only way that my mind would get clear would be after I did colonics. I would do it twice a week. And the next day, the following day, I would have that clarity. I spent 10 grand just on colonics in 18 months. But yeah, it was quite the journey. And supplements were the #1 reason that I actually got sick. I was on, I took no steroids for my show, but they had me on these supplements. And one of my strengths as a entrepreneur, I'll say as a leader, is I hire great people and I just tell them to tell me what to do. I didn't do any research. I had no friggin' idea that there would ever be a chemical like in a product. FDA, I'm like, there are chemicals and all these products, and they destroyed my gut. So I have a chemical-free line, a very simple gut chemical-free line. It's not 1% chemical, or 99% chemical-free. It's 100% chemical-free. But so that between that and these radical meal plans, you get away with it when you're younger, but man, when you get older, you got to start making some changes, and that's where things start.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's it's always good to hear somebody else's journey and because I think sometimes just hearing the story wakes people up and raises their own level of awareness to what I hear is kind of a through line of yours of raising consciousness and think community as we go through our days and our weeks, and we're so busy and sometimes we're grabbing this and grabbing that and not paying attention. I think, Steve, something that you're reminding me of is, just to always kind of be a little bit more conscious, especially, for ourselves when it comes to taking care of ourselves and paying attention to our gut. Steve, you ready for a quick speed round?
Sorry? You
ready for a quick speed round?
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
All right. What I mean is, so we're just doing, it's kind of what I do at the end of my interviews. A book that's had the biggest impact on you.
Oh, dude, man. There's so many. I can't believe I knew you were going to ask me that question, and I don't know that I saw that in any of the literature. I was in the sauna earlier. I'm always in the sauna 6 days a week. I'm in the sauna.
Yeah.
Bikram yoga. 2 books. Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, man, that book came to me from my coaches. I've had about 40 coaches. And the reason that book meant so much to me, I can't even explain the magic in that book. It reminded me to tap into my creator, that my whole life would change by tapping into the magic of my creator. I don't care if you call it Jesus, Buddha, God, higher self, inner guidance system, universe. But meditation has shifted my life. I no longer have to think for myself. It's that your soul is 2 steps ahead of you. When you read that book and what happened in the process of her writing the story of the Amazon, and then her husband, who ended up losing his he had to go back to where he came from, green card. She stopped writing, and I can't even tell you. Like, you just got to research that book. But the other thing is the slight edge, Jeff Olson, who started to write this book around all of these millionaires, people that became millionaires that made under $100,000 a year. Her mom being one of them, lost her husband, no life insurance. But it shifted to how our habits create our reality. And so I will tell you that the reason Body Temple does so well, and what was so reluctant for me to go down this path, is thinking I really don't know the science like my wife does, my son's mom. And what I realized is that all my work and mindset, like I have clients that have built multi-million-dollar businesses, but more importantly, great marriages, great health, great relationships, just shifted from workaholism to fun and recreation. It's how I was going to start this, talking about this, treatment I had for my face, and thinking the years of being in the sun, I had no idea what that might cost me as I aged. And so the prevention is everything, the longevity. And right before you asked me that question, my thought was, my two favorite questions I ask people when they want help with their health. My second favorite question is, tell me about your ideal health in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years. But my favorite question that takes them to their knees is, I've got a very important question. It may shock you. I want you to be with it before you answer it. Take a deep breath with me. And I say, if you had a diagnosis that took you to your knees, what would be the worst diagnosis? And then they often say, well, I had a friend that, I had a mother that died of, and I say, how would that affect your career? How would that affect your spouse? How would that affect your finances? How would that affect your relationships? That's the wake-up question. And that question alone has gotten people off their ass to realize your choices affect way more than you in your life. There's something different about us, our win, than me and I, that gets us this broader purpose and reason to move forward in areas that we might be really uncomfortable.
Well, I appreciate this was great, and I appreciate you sharing your story, Steve. Think community as as we think about things that have an impact on us. I think something I'm hearing from you, Steve, which I think is always a good reminder to share and ask questions, and just get people thinking and raising their awareness. I appreciate you taking time to be on the show. Tell everybody where they can connect with you, Steve.
Yeah, we have quite a free gift, man. This process that, we're a philanthropic movement in Body Temple. That's how we started, and that's what we focus on. These coaches give their time. It's pretty darn incredible. We created what we called our 15-day Kickstart Detox program. It's so much more than that. And in all of that, what I will tell you, just remember bodytemplekickstart.com. This might give you a little. Body Temple is my only tattoo. Body Temple, your body's a temple. Kickstart. We're going to kickstart your health.com. It's in the show notes. And first, you're going to have a 2-week plan to detox your gut. And also, most importantly, you're going to have a plan that will take you, a process that will take you to a global, a wider plan, better said, where you can create your ideal wellness plan, especially as we step into the new year. And second, you're going to receive 100% chemical-free gut detox formula that's going to support that. So, when you're healing your gut, there's really 2 pathways: the choices that you make and the products that you take. 100% free chemical. Third, and most importantly, you're going to learn how to shift your poor habits to ideal habits and notice your triggers. when you can be aware of your habits and your triggers, and you may start with your health, but I got to tell you, it's going to widen your horizon as you start to think about those triggers in life that screw with your emotion, that your fears. And it's simple. Opt in. You'll notice that when you go to opt in, we get about 150 emails a week saying, I didn't get that email. And email's not reliable. You can enter your cell number. We'll text that to you. And the problem with most of you is that life's just so busy. You're having a thought right now, I'm going to do it. And unless you go write it in your calendar, you probably won't. It's a 42-minute video. If you think I'm powerful, wait till you hear Lynn. She's magic. And she handles part 2, which is all about the plan.
Good. All right. Well, I appreciate you sharing. The community, if Steve can help you, please reach out. If I can help you, please reach out at johndwoskin.com. Steve, thanks, man. I appreciate your insight and your wisdom and everything we talked about today. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, brother.